Okay, blue bottle. Blue bottle needs no description really. It's a fly which is grouped with rats and dead animals and meat. In fact, it's often called the meat fly or the blow fly. It's a nasty, unwholesome creature. We've all seen it buzzing against the kitchen window, trying to get out. We don't like it, but the trout do, and that's a fact. Now I want you to notice the wing, housefly style wing, I'll call it that. And if you can see in the body, which is peacock herl, can you see a glitter of blue in there? I hope you can. As a dry fly floated back towards you down a fast run, it's very attractive to trout. If there's a trout there, he'll go for it. It's a similar sort of tie-in to a black and peacock spider, which is a wet fly, and very similar to our own cochobondi, which can be fished wet or dry. But they have no wings, and also I'm going to tie this fly in the fore and aft style, which means a hackle at the back and one at the front as well. I tend to use smallish hackles if I can, because it's a terrestrial fly, it's a land fly, and all land-bred flies don't have the ability to shed water like the water-bred flies, so they all fish a bit low in the water. They sit fairly low in the water. If you see a blue bottle get blown onto the water, it's always down low, and this is where the fish expect to see them. Also, when it's submerged or slightly awash, as some people say, it can be deadly. Okay, I'm going to tie it now. Now it's a black silk, and I've already waxed this silk. I don't need a pucker sort of foundation on this, because it's going to have a peacock herl body. So I take this silk down like this, ready to put on the first item, which is the rear hackle. And this is I'm going to use for this grizzle hackles. Now, some would say, well, you would think black hackles. You can use black hackles, but I find these grizzle hackles give a sort of a better appearance. That's purely my opinion. So it depends really. It's up to you what you use. But I like the black hackle. Nip out that little stub there. Park my silk up the front for the time being, and I wind this hackle. The hackle is well at the bend. And sometimes you can even clip underneath this rear hackle if you wanted to. You don't need to, but if you want to, you can. That's the rear hackle, so I take my silk back down, ready to tie it off, like that. That's the rear hackle on. Nip that out. The hook, by the way, I'm using is a size 12. I normally do this in a 14. It's a Kamasan B405, size 12, for the sake of this demonstration. Now, it is a biggish fly, so a size 12 is perfectly okay to do it. Now, the body is peacock herl. I've got 4 strands here of peacock, and as you know, the tips are very often a bit brittle, so I'm going to try to snap these off and tie in the herl. Now, do it like this. I can draw the herl back a bit till I get it right, and I'll take my silk back here to wind things all down. Now I'm going to take the silk up towards the front, about there, before I wind the body. And I'm going to do something a little bit unusual. I'm going to tie in the rib up the front, because I like to double rib this fly in an effort to get the blue appearance. And the rib I'm using is a blue holographic. If you were tying a green bottle, you'd tie a green holographic. But this is the blue bottle, so I'm tying the blue holographic. Nip out that little bit there, but it doesn't really matter because it's going to be covered in a moment. Okay, now before I wind the herl body, pardon me, I'm just going to put some varnish on the shank to help it to stick. Won't be using a lot of this. Just like that. Take my 4 herls and I sort of wind them like this. I get well back to this hackle. I've missed one there, so I'll catch up with that. There's my herls going on. You don't need sort of, you can have 3 or 4. And you notice as I'm winding, I'm drawing down to bring up this flue. It's got a fattish body, which is what I'm trying to achieve, and that's about it there. Just like that. Secure these. Nip those off. Give it another wind just to make it secure. Now I'm going to rib it, and this is a bit unusual because I want the blue to be emphasized because it's a blue bottle. So I'm going to rib it twice. It goes down once like that and then back up, so that the blue of the blue bottle will shine through, hopefully. See that? And this rib, this blue rib, also adds a bit of protection. But the main idea of it is to give the blue appearance. We've seen the body of a blue bottle and a green bottle. It's got this shine about it. Okay, now the wing. Can you see the wing on the fly I showed you earlier? Housefly wing I'm trying to imitate. So I get a feather like this, and using a wing cutter, which is the one little circular blade and a gap, press down, as I've said before, like a pastry cutter on a piece of paper, and you'll cut it out like this. This is what you'll be getting. So by tearing off these bits, we've got that. Bear with me. I nip this out, and I'm left with this now, this piece of feather. And I've just got to shape it, which is easy, because I will now use my hackle pliers. If you bear with me, I nip the hackle pliers like that, draw down these like that, and I'm going to cut across that little waist with my scissors. I'm going to go over my bench because I know it'll drop on the floor and I'll lose it. That's what I cut across the waist, and when I draw it forward, I've got that. Okay? Now this is going to be the wing. We just put it on like this. You'll see it going on. Bend it over. There's the stalk there. Tie it down, have a look at it. I think it went over a bit. I'll show you that. You see that? that's the sort of thing I'm trying to achieve. Straighten it up a little bit. And that's okay. Right, I nip out this stalk. And I'll put on the front hackle. Grizzle again. Not a very big hackle. From a saddle cape. Tie it on my usual figure of 8. Take the stalk back. To secure it. I'm going to trace that stalk. There it is on the top there. That's it. I'm going to bring my silk to the front. And now I wind the hackle. Now, the 2 hackles give a good impression of legs, and they help the fly to float. The main attraction is in the body, the blue holographic body which shines and shimmers a bit like a natural fly. Now that I'm there, nip out this hackle. And I'll try to expose the front. Expose the head a bit for me to tie off a little bit. I'll use my cotton bud, which I've cut and trimmed, and I just push the hackles back a little bit, like that, to tie things down. This is really securing the fly now, the whole fly, and I'll put on the whip finish. The way I normally do it, one, two, missed one there, so I'll give it another one as the 3. Needle into the loop, draw it up. Now I'm there, open my scissors to a gape and gently push, and I've cut the silk. See, I've got a couple of stray ones just over the eye here which I'll nip out, and then I will varnish the head. Before I do that, I'll let you see these wings. You see that? If I rotate the fly, can you see the blue in the body? I can assure you, if there is a trout in a fast run and you put the blue bottle over him, he will take it. Okay, I'm going to varnish the head, pick up a little bit on my needle, and I just touch around like this. Normally, well, not normally, but I often varnish the head the next day. Old bit of feather, which you've always got lying around on your bench to clear the eye. Up through or down, doesn't matter. And that's the blue bottle fly. Now, you can, if you want to, clip underneath here. But it does look well and float well as it is, and I do recommend it. I've only ever caught one suing on a dry fly, and it was on this fly. the fore and aft with this type of body. Okay, thank you for watching that. I hope you picked up a few tips and hope you enjoyed it. I certainly did.